He has a really hard time identifying and expressing his emotions. If you ask him right now, how do you feel? He might say, good. The answer will not be happy, sad, angry, afraid, joyful, ecstatic, disgusted, etc. He has no words for the broad range of emotions and is not able to articulate them within his body. To be fair, most men cannot to the ability that women can, but it is virtually impossible for this man to identify the simplest emotional range. He is quick to get intimate sexually. This can be tricky. You think, oh wow, he really likes me. No, he just uses sex as a replacement for actual intimacy because he isn't equipped to actually be vulnerable. He is distant. He won't let you get emotionally close to him. He'll keep you at arm's length. You won't know how he feels about you or pretty much how he feels about anything. He won't share much about his life with you. His past can be a mystery. He hangs on to past hurts though. What he will share is how hurt he is about past girlfriends, ex-wives, and relationships that didn't work out.
So that was my introduction to this podcast, and this is a second introduction, and you'll get a third introduction. But I just wanted to point out that I forgot to ask Jennifer Love if she thinks we're all psychic. But we all have heard her answer yes about 60 million times. I think I said 50 million and 19 in the following podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Hello, this is Lisa Russick with the podcast We're All Psychic. And today we have Jennifer Love back. Yes, we do. And you know that makes me happy. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi, Lisa.
This is audio only, listeners. And we are doing audio only because computers be tripping. And Misty's not here today. She's sick, but we miss her. And so, you know, if you've been listening to the podcast, Jennifer Love is, among other things, a love specialist. And we talk about love and metaphysics in her love series. We haven't done a love series of hers in a while, I don't think. So we're talking about emotionally unavailable people?
People. Yeah.
And cats, because they all are. But yes, so we as psychic readers and as human beings have been in situations, both of us, on either end, not being emotionally available and being enamored with somebody who may not be emotionally available for a relationship with us. So Jennifer, what were you saying right before we started recording the podcast? You were talking about how when you were younger.
I was talking about being kind of the poster child for unavailable people and relationships because I was emotionally unavailable myself. And of course, I didn't realize this for a very, 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 very long time. And so I kept, after I got divorced many, many years ago, over 10 years ago, I was dating and I kept, repeating this pattern of dating emotionally unavailable men and didn't realize why it kept happening that I would get into a relationship and I would, encounter people who would not fully commit to me or did not want to commit to me, would not fully be in love with me. And I just couldn't figure it out. Why did I keep meeting these people?
Yeah.
Why did this keep happening to me? And it took me a while to come to the conclusion that, of course, I was choosing these people. I was attracting these people. The common denominator was me.
Yeah.
And it's a really hard conclusion to, it seems perfectly obvious, to everyone around you except you. When, you're in these, relationships and, these people are not good for you and all of your friends can see it, but you can't. Yeah. And it just seems perfectly to everyone around you except you.
Yeah.
But, it is difficult to see yourself from the outside in.
It is
sometimes. And you can get relationship advice from therapists and spiritual advisors and, calling psychic hotlines and all of these things. But it's still very difficult to brutally see yourself honestly and make changes to yourself.
Yes, and one thing you have said in during one of our podcasts when I was going on about my relationship troubles, you had said to me, maybe you're not emotionally available to me. And I had to really think about that because, you know, I was like, maybe I'm not. And I thought about that for probably a couple months. And I realized at that time I really wasn't. And it was because of, you know, just coming out of a very hard marriage. And that's
Yeah,
painful. It's hard to do, even if I wanted it, you know?
correct. And it's not, and I'm not, when I speak to my clients about it, it's not saying that you don't know how to love. Of course, you know
No.
how to love. And people that love, love very deeply. It's perhaps that maybe just a little part of you is not fully, completely emotionally available to your partner.
And I
And
understand that.
so,
I
yeah,
understand
yeah,
that. Yeah.
of course. Yeah. So you keep that little part like almost hidden
Yeah.
or locked away. And so you're not fully, completely open to love. And that is the part that I'm saying is emotionally unavailable. If you're
Exactly.
not completely honest and open and emotionally present with someone, that's being emotionally unavailable. So it's when you start keeping things from your partner, you're not being honest, even things like, oh, that didn't really bother me. You
Yes.
know, when that person did that, oh, that doesn't bother me
Because you're
really.
afraid of losing them or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Oh, this person does that all the time, but that doesn't really bother me
Yeah.
anyway, you
Yeah.
know, but it really does.
Yeah.
That is being not honest with your emotions, and that is part of being emotionally unavailable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when you're not being even honest with yourself, that's a
Yes.
problem, right?
Yes. And in love, though, I mean, oof, love is a kind of like, you know, like the moon and all the in the cards we always talk about in tarot and Lenormand, the moon is
Yeah.
mysterious. And it's also exciting and, you know, and the feelings are associated with the moon and
Right. But when you get the moon,
you're
you have to
confused.
think about, yeah, why is the moon coming up? Is you are you like not being honest with yourself?
Yes.
Maybe?
Yes, exactly. And I have
Are
gone
you
through that in
hiding
my
from
life.
yourself?
Oh, I've done it over and over, and I've been honest with myself because I wanted my relationships to work. You know, I was in love and they
Right.
weren't, and I had to just suck that up and I didn't. You know, I didn't suck it up. I pretended it wasn't there and put it behind me. You know, like it
Right.
wasn't really important, but it was. And
And a
it's
lot of people like hold on to relationships because, you know, the dating atmosphere is
ugh,
very difficult and
yes,
brutal, especially for very empathic people who are probably listening to this podcast.
sorry.
Very sensitive people, you know, dating over and over is completely harsh.
Yes, it really
It's very
is.
difficult to constantly meet new people when you're a sensitive, empathic person.
Right.
You just kind of want to stick with that person and just deal with their, you know, stuff,
Yeah.
rather than meet another new person.
And there's always money. You know, people sometimes use money as an excuse. Like
Sure.
it's just oh,
Oh
I want to be
yeah.
able to afford it, and
Of
you know, and
course. And that's a very real thing. And I'm not trying to
it
discount
is a
that at
very real
all.
thing. It's very hard,
Yes.
especially for women who raise kids or men who raise
Of
kids and didn't work.
course.
Mostly
Of
it's women,
course.
but and they didn't have a chance to in our generation, you know, really get a skill of any kind. And when the kids are grown and the man's, you know, if he was not emotionally available at that, you know, whenever if there's a divorce and that was
Absolutely.
the reason, then you know, it's like I feel like it's almost like the people who are emotionally unavailable kind of shove some of that emptiness into us to if we don't have it already. Because I do know some people who've been in love with emotionally unavailable people, and I feel like they want to fix them.
Of course. Yeah.
That's part
Um,
of love.
right. And I just want to tell those people that feel the need to help the other person or want to fix the other person that that's not up to you. And you can't do that for someone else.
Absolutely.
It is really up to the other adult to take on their healing for themselves. So you can possibly guide them to resources. You can maybe, you know, say, hey, you could probably talk to my spiritual advisor. She's
Right.
amazing. Or like, I go to this healer and she does great energy
And
clearing or
that is a
whatever.
really
But
good point, Jennifer. Energy healing is so good for moving emotional blockages. It really is.
exactly.
That's a really
Yeah.
great
So you could
point.
probably like point your partner in the right direction and be open to them
Yeah.
seeking healing on their own, but you can't do their healing for
No, you
them.
can't. And we want
And
to.
if they don't want to do it for themselves, there's
Yeah.
not much you can do about
Or if they
it.
don't see the problem, a problem
Yeah.
anyway. They're not
Right.
they're not at all available in any way, it seems at that point.
Yeah. And
Um,
everybody is in a different point in their own spiritual journey, obviously. So yeah, sometimes we're all at different places and
exactly.
you're in your place and they're in theirs, and you just kind of have to accept it sometimes that, we're all in a different place and we're all in a different points of our healing process.
Absolutely. And I know that for me, when I feel I kind of go back and forth on feeling emotionally available, emotionally unavailable in general,
And
because
I think that's perfectly normal.
I think it's normal. I think maybe a lot of people do. I'm a very emotional person, so I try to temper it, by compartmentalizing the emotions. Um, but I can be
Why
emotionally
would you do
available.
that?
I'll tell you why, because I can't handle it all at once. Like it's just
Okay.
it piles on, and I can't. If I write it down, it helps to get it all out of my head. It's like sorting it
Okay.
out, kind of. But when I'm feeling emotionally unavailable, I don't even feel available to myself, if that makes sense. Like I can't feel the general well-being of living. And I can't feel it with someone else. I can't feel it with myself. I can with my cats, no matter what, oddly. But I just will if I'm but that can be like almost all the way emotionally available. But I always have this little tiny, like I call it a golden nugget that I keep inside my heart. And that's when you said to me on that podcast, that's called emotionally unavailable. And I was like, oh, is it? But I do, I feel like
I
it's like
don't
I'm
think
holding it
that
for
I don't think
someone,
that's necessarily I don't think it's necessarily unhealthy to keep a part of you for yourself.
Well, this piece is
Um,
like I want to open it up, but I can't. It feels like it's like a nugget, and there's something in there that's juicy. But it's gold. I
oh,
don't know
okay.
why. But I want to share it with
Okay.
somebody. But
Okay.
I I,
Oh,
I
you do
don't.
want to share it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
do. I do want to share it with somebody,
Okay.
but I can't open it
Okay.
up. I just can't get it open. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay. Okay.
I
That
mean, it's all
sounds like
imagination.
there may be some kind of trauma locked in
There
there.
may
And
be, and
yeah.
I did have a very serious illness when I was 5,
Hmm.
and I almost died, and I always wondered if that something about that had affected my because I was always afraid of everything. If you have listened, Jennifer, but if you've listened to the podcast listeners, and if you haven't, I used to be an agoraphobic. I had agoraphobia. I couldn't leave the house very easily. And a friend in Serbia that I met on Instagram named Ali Cat, she gave me a 20-minute reading and it took it away. I've been able to go out ever since. Um,
Wow.
so yeah,
That's
I mean,
amazing.
that was in 2018, and I'd always had it since I was 12, and I didn't know what it was. I thought it was social anxiety, but then that year I read more about agoraphobia, and I was like, this is what I have, not social anxiety. I'm not afraid of necessarily. I mean, I had the empath fears and overwhelms and stuff like that, being out in public, but leaving the house was the hard part. Once I'm in the car
Hmm.
going, it's usually okay. Not all the time though. Sometimes I still, when I was younger, but now after she did this technique with me, I can use that technique and I can go out. So but I think the trauma is from that disease and not being taken seriously by my parents when I was sick after that. So,
Okay.
yeah, as a kid, not, I was never like that sick again when I was, dying of this bacterial infection at 5 in the hospital. But I think it just kind of set something in me at a young age, the fear of God, the fear of death at that young
Hmm.
age, and it just kind of left me a little afraid of living, honestly. And that's keeping me emotionally unavailable to get close to people sometimes.
Is that, do you feel that in a certain place in your body?
I feel it in my heart,
Okay.
right smack dab in my heart when I was talking about it.
Oh, okay.
And I don't feel much in my heart chakra except love. And this feels like pain. Not like it feels like an old pain, like an old ache, an old dull ache.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because I
Yeah.
can remember that week really well being in that hospital. I remember so much, and I couldn't take the IV. So every 6 hours, I'd have like 4 or 5 nurses and my mom holding me down while I'm screaming,
Yeah, I feel
while
it
they
now.
gave me the shot in the ass. Yeah, because I couldn't take an IV because I thought it hurt too much, and I was screaming and yelling a lot and stuff. And I had a fever of 105, so it was like or higher than that at some points. So, but that was kind of when I look, it was just part of my life as far as I'm concerned. But maybe that is where some of my a lot of my bigger fears stem from as an adult. So I don't know, like as far as getting close to people, because death was very presented to me very young in a different kind of way, as far as I might die,
Hmm.
and I never thought about that as a kid. I was like, they were all scared, the adults, and I didn't understand why, because my fever was so high, and I was 5,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I wonder sometimes if that illness has something to do with that part of me that's afraid of getting close, like too close. So
Right.
I don't feel like I've ever been all the way close to someone, a lover, all the way.
Well, I think that does have a lot to do with, emotional unavailability is our experiences in childhood. That's how we
That makes sense. Yes.
get it or learn it or, this is where it comes from. It's our experiences. It's
That
learned.
makes sense. My family
Um,
didn't like emotional displays.
Same,
Yeah, it was looked down upon, I guess you could say.
correct.
And it
Same
still
with
is.
mine.
But I still have.
Right. Same. Yeah. And I am a mother as well.
Yes.
So I try to do things differently with my own daughter, but I can still find myself reverting back to the parenting I was given. So it's very
Yeah.
hard to fight it and do
Yeah.
something different.
It is.
But I try very hard
Yeah.
to do things differently.
I understand that.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, but because I am so, emotionally open, um, my daughter is too, and I'm very proud of
Oh, I'm
that.
so happy about that.
Yeah.
So what would you think, like for the listeners, what do you think would be some good advice if maybe they have feelings for someone and they're listening to this and they're thinking like, yeah, maybe this person I'm in love with or feeling this way about is emotionally unavailable. The things they're describing, like what are some behaviors typically to me or avoidance of
So there's
conversations?
interestingly enough, I made this TikTok video out of all
Oh,
the like many, many TikToks and Instagram videos I made. There was this one TikTok video that went viral,
ooh,
and it was the video on like 10 signs that he's emotionally unavailable or something like that.
nice,
And that,
nice.
that was the one that just went nuts. Like, and I never thought that that would hit such a nerve with people,
Oh
but
yeah.
that was the one. I think it's over
If you can download it and send it
hundreds
to
of
me,
thousands of views now.
if you want to download it and send it to me, I can put it at the end of the podcast. For
Yeah,
people to watch
yeah,
if they want.
it's definitely my TikTok is I am Jennifer Love at I am Jennifer Love, just like my Instagram and everything else.
Mhm.
But yeah, I will definitely link the video. It's just, signs that your partner might be emotionally unavailable. It's I did, signs that your man might
Yeah,
be
yeah.
because that I was trying to speak to women.
Women especially.
Um, but it could easily be applied to women. And
Yeah,
then of course the next thing people asked was, well, what do I do
yeah,
if this is my partner?
yeah.
And of course, I said, you can't fix him.
No, you can't.
You can't, which is
You
what I
gotta do
just
that.
said about, what we just said about like 10 minutes ago about,
Yeah.
trying to heal your person. You
Yeah.
can't heal someone else. That's a
Yeah.
healing is up to the individual.
You can help them,
Um,
but they have to do the actual wow.
right. And
Eureka. Yeah.
yeah. And, kind of what Lisa and I were just saying about, I was in that same situation about attracting emotionally unavailable partners. And I come to find out I was emotionally unavailable myself. But what you can do is work on yourself.
Yes. That's
So
fun.
the best thing to do is to look inward
Yes.
and work on your own emotions. And so, try to feel your feelings.
Yeah.
Name your feelings, journal your feelings. Um, think about, when's the last time you had some big emotional display and what was it
Yeah.
about? Was it that you got super angry at your boss at work? Did
Yeah.
you have like a crying emotional meltdown
Yeah. What
in
physical
in
qualities were there? Because I've gotten
right?
meltdowns to where my stomach just bottomed out. Like,
Sure.
stuff came out like
Um,
an hour,
did you
I'm like,
have like
what?
a did
That
you
was
get
holding it
like
in.
super happy when you got like great news or a bonus or something totally awesome? Did you just like have this complete joyous, like jumping up and down, happy?
I have before.
Um,
That time I didn't, but
yeah,
other times I have, like when Eric wanted me to move to Nashville, I was just like,
right.
then you're right. There's the physical actions, the joy, the hype, the hyper, the shaking.
Yeah.
If you shake
Yeah.
some,
And how
I
did
shake.
that feel in your
Yeah.
body?
Oh,
Where did
yeah.
you feel it in your body? Where does joy live in your body? Where does sadness live in your body? Where does anger
Yeah.
live in your body? Write these things down. It's important to know, how do you express anger? How do you express sadness? How do you express grief?
Yes.
When somebody passes, somebody important to you, even if it's like your pet, you
Yeah.
know, it's important to experience grief. It's
It
it's
is.
not it's not we shouldn't stuff it down.
I agree.
It's not a minor thing.
I agree.
Um it's always important to you have to feel all these emotions. There's nothing good, there's nothing bad. Even though as a society we're kind of told not to cry, don't
I
cry,
hate that too. Yeah.
I hate that so much. But yeah, you got it. There's a evolutionary reason we have all of these emotions. Um, I have a whole class about
Hmm?
feminine icons and the emotions that go with them. I'm planning a retreat
Oh my
that's
gosh, yes,
coming
retreat.
soon. I'm very excited about exploring all of these emotions with the icons and moving them through your body. So that's a whole nother
Oh,
discussion.
yeah, we're gonna talk about your retreat when you got it all
Yeah.
ready to go, and
Yeah.
we'll tell
Yeah.
you
I'm very
all
excited
about
about
it,
that.
listeners.
Right.
I'm excited about
But
that.
yeah, but back to kind of
Awesome.
like feeling your feelings. That's kind of like the best thing that you could do
Yes,
is, feel your feelings.
understand.
Emotions move through your body in three ways: breath, movement, and sound. So if you want to do breath work is amazing. I'm
Yes.
studying a lot of breath work right now. Um, sound, even just like screaming, or
Yeah,
if you want to
primal
like
screaming. Yes.
rolling up all your car windows and just doing an ah, that's great. Like screaming into a pillow,
Pillow.
you
Yeah.
definitely don't want to scare your neighbors or anything, but like some controlled screaming is good. Unless you live out in the middle of the desert or
Yeah.
something.
Then you just run out in the
Yeah, go
desert
ahead
and
and scream. I don't know, but don't
and
scare
then
anybody.
yeah.
uh, don't think somebody's getting murdered over there.
They'll think you're a
Um,
coyote.
and then of course, like movement. I'm big on movement.
Yes.
Obviously, if you want to go for a walk, do yoga, I do
It
feminine
helps
movement, but
process the emotions to do
it
the
does.
movements, to do the sounds. Yeah.
You don't want to get movement stuck in your body. The worst thing to do is when you see a little toddler crying and the mother says, "Don't cry," you see that child stiffen in their
Yep.
body, and then that emotion gets stuck right
Yes.
in their body, and it's swallowed down, and now it's stuck. It's stuck trauma, and they're gonna
Yeah.
have to stay with
Yeah.
it. That was like the absolute worst thing you could do to
Yes,
a
you're right.
kid, is to tell them stop crying, and they stiffen, and their whole body is rigid,
And then they
and the
learn to
emotion is
suppress,
stuck.
and then they
Yeah.
learn to become emotionally unavailable because that's what they're
Yeah.
expected
Yeah.
to.
If you ever see like a dog just like shake their ears,
Yeah.
shake, they're just they're shaking an emotion out.
Oh, yeah, that makes
They're
sense.
shaking like trauma out of their body. They do it
Aw.
constantly.
Cats do it too.
Yeah, cats do it too. They're never like, animals don't keep shit the way we do.
No, they don't. They
They're
do
not
not.
stupid like us.
Yeah. They don't dwell
No,
on
they don't dwell
bullshit.
on it. Yeah, they don't
Make
dwell
them
on the
hurt themselves even
bullshit. Yeah.
worse.
They don't have to go to therapy and
Key
get
therapy.
readings and
They're like, I'm perfectly weird and okay with it.
yeah, yeah.
And get readings.
So whenever you see your dog or cat shake it off again, like think about yourself and like do some
Yeah.
gentle movement. Like
Yeah,
move it
exactly.
through. Take a breath.
So true. And
Yeah.
Jennifer, thank you. She's been here a million times, but tell us where we can find you. You're on Everclear, right?
I'm on Everclear, Jennifer L. You can go to my website, thejenniferlove.com, and my socials are I am Jennifer Love.
I'll put all her stuff in the description, listeners. And I wanted to ask you first of all, I want to thank Everclear. Speaking of Everclear,
Yeah.
Everclear is our sponsor, and Everclear is an advice app and website, everclear.com, where you can get advice from psychics and empaths. Like, what's that word? Empaths. To get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And all the advisors are just wonderful. I've met so many of them on this podcast. And Jennifer, you've been a really great guest every single time. And thank you so much for coming on again.
Thank you.
For Jennifer Love series number 50,000,016. It's a lot of podcasts you've done.
Yeah, it's great every time.
It is, yeah. Thank you again. And listeners, we love you. And Missy will be back. We have another podcast on, this is Tuesday, what does it say, the 3rd, September 3rd in 2024. And tomorrow we have another podcast. And the day after today, we have another podcast. So you're going to get a lot of talky. And as always, thank you for listening and watching when we have videos. And Jennifer, would you like to say goodbye?
Thank you so much. Bye. See you soon.
Bye-bye. Love you guys. Have a great time wherever you may be, and peace out. Mwah.